loved us, and therefore I decided to do that as my project. There may be a project that someone does and you're really interested in it, so by them talking about it, you can figure out more about it. I'm credible to speak about this because I'm the one who did the project. When I'm done with this speech, you'll know more about my project. I will tell you my service story, the analysis of my story, and some communication recommendations and implications. Now that you know how my speech will be, I will tell you the story of it. I completed my service at my church, which is in Benton. It's called Midtown Church. The mission of my organization, according to their website, emphasizes a few key ideas. It helps kids learn about God. It lets kids interact with others, and also it helps kids more able to listen to adults other than their parents. The story of my service. So Brooke Trop is the head of Kids Time Live, which is where I was at, and I was normally in the 4-year-old room with Megan. We taught the Bible story every week, which was the same one as Sunday nights. And then we also helped with their crafts and had songs to tie up the night. And then in this one, we had like the little leaves on the parachute, and they had to blow all the leaves off and then pick them up and put them back on. And then this one, we were doing a maze, and then on the back, they drew like Jesus and a donkey and a cross and a tomb and stuff like that. And then my service helped, so there wasn't only one adult with 10 to 15 kids, which is what we had most nights. It also helped by letting kids get some one-on-one help with their crafts and singing songs that they would pick. Lastly, it helped kids learn more about God. So that was my story, and then here's the analysis of my story. One communication concept that is connected to my service is gestures. And the definition, according to Lane, Abigail, and Gooch, is the movements of the body used to communicate thoughts, feelings, and or intentions. And an example from my service illustrates this concept, because when a kid talks to you, they're going to use gestures to explain, because it's hard for them, it's just easier for them to get their point across if they use gestures. And an example that illustrates this definition is because they tend to point at things that hurt rather than explain it, because it's just easier for them. And the second one is active listening. And the definition, according to Lane, Abigail, and Gooch, is that this is a type of listening that features verbal and nonverbal responses. An example from my service that illustrates this concept is that if a kid thinks you aren't listening to them, they'll just quit talking and walk away. And an example that illustrates this definition is because when kids talk to us, we tend to shake our heads and say yes to let them know we're listening. And then the relevant communication principle that I picked is that communication is inevitable. And the whole idea of this, according to the Survival Guide, is that it's the you cannot not communicate idea. Like, you have to talk. And all behavior has symbolic potential and can be interpreted by others, whether we want it to or not. And then an example from my service is when kids come in not talking to you or even making eye contact with you, you know by the end of the night they'll have to talk to you. And an example that illustrates this is because people have to communicate and you can't get away from it. Now that you know the analysis of my story, I'll tell you some communication recommendations and implication. And one communication concept that I can use to improve my communication would be prompts, which the definition of that, according to Lane, Abigail, and Gooch, is silent sounds or words that let a speaker know that you're listening and you want them to continue. And I chose this concept based on my service experience, because when you are listening to a kid, it's good to let them know that you're actually paying attention to them. And I can use this concept to improve my communication by paying more attention to the speaker and let them know that I'm actually paying attention. A civil or ethical implication I could use would be abstraction, which, according to Lane, Abigail, and Gooch, is the levels of specificity in language. And I chose this concept based on my service because we have to watch what we say around kids because they're listening more than we think. And I can use this concept to improve my communication by not using certain words on kids and only using words that they know and they can understand. There are some communication recommendations. Now I'll wrap it up. Now that I'm finished, you know more about my project than you did before. I did this by telling you my story, giving you an analysis of it, and then telling you some communication recommendations. Now you know why I love my Wednesday night church class. And then this is one of the songs that they were doing. And they had to play an air guitar.
Guitar and was like doing that.
And then this is just some of the kids that were in my class. That's Jack Henry and Caden, and then that's Addie and Justin. And we had our little number one fingers because the theme of that night was Jesus is the best, Jesus is number